Okay, we're gonna try this again. Sorry, guys. Okay, come on in, come on in. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday. Come on in, come on in. Get yourself comfortable. We're about to get started. If you need a snack, get you a little snack. If you want, some water, you need to run to the restroom, go run to the restroom and come back. Come on in, guys. We are getting ready to get started. So you have like 3 or 4 minutes. So go run and do your little errand and come right back. Or get you some water, get you a little snack. We're going to talk about the jobs report and break down what this means for you. So come on in. You haven't missed anything yet. We're just getting started. You have like another 3 to 4 minutes. Go ahead and grab what you need and come back so we can chat about the jobs report, because I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of TikToks about this. I actually have not been on TikTok like that the past few days. I've just been led to take a step back and focus on serving my clients. But I did want to come in here and talk about the new jobs report, what the data is showing, what this means for you, and what I would do if I was you, what I would be doing right now. So go ahead and get your snack, get your drink, go run to the restroom and come right back at 6:30. We're going to get started. So you have a few minutes, like two more minutes, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay. You guys have 2 minutes. So if you need to run to the restroom, go ahead and do that. And then we'll get started. Okay, if you're just coming in, we're about to get started. You haven't missed anything. Just go ahead and make sure you are ready. If you need to grab a pen and some paper, take some notes, go ahead and do that. You need to go get you a little snack, something to sip on, some drink, go ahead and get that. And we're about to get started. You have 2 minutes, 1 minute. You have 1 minute before we get started. 60 seconds, and then we're going to dive into the topic. So if you want to learn more, come on in. Happy Monday to everybody. I had a slow day today. I did do some client work and I had a few consultations, but it's been a weird Monday. It's definitely been a weird Monday. So I kind of took it easy today. But I hope you guys had a good day, I hope you don't have the Sunday scaries. If you did, that's unfortunate. But hey, Monday's over. If you are on the East Coast, it's almost 6:30. So if you're waiting, go ahead. If you just joined, hello. We are about to get started. All right, it's 6:30. Let's go ahead and get started. So today we are going to be talking about the jobs report that was released. How many of you guys have been keeping track with the job and growth data that's been coming out? Are you guys tracking? Are you guys following along with what's going on? If you are not, you need to stay up to date. You are not, you need to stay up to date. You need to be watching the news. You need to be abreast of all the changes that are happening, because things are happening. Things are happening. Things are happening. Okay, so what do you need to know? What do I think is the most important thing that you need to know? I have some notes. So if I keep looking, it's because I'm looking at my computer and referring to my notes here. Okay, so what do you need to know about the U.S. jobs report that was released in August? Let's talk about it. Kristen says she's tired of applying. Well, don't get tired. The September surge is here. So the reason why I put the September 25 is because September is historically a good month for recruiting. So if you're trying to start a new job by December 2025, you need to have your butt in this live, and you need to have your butt in my classes, in some of my coaching sessions, so you can make the most of this opportunity. The reason why is because the U.S. jobs report made some interesting points. Here's the top points you need to know. The U.S. only added 22,000 jobs in August. They expected way more new jobs to be added to the economy. Way fewer jobs were added to the economy than expected. So what does that mean? All the stuff you've been seeing on TikTok is technically true. There are less jobs available, period. Period. Now, if you have been following my content for a while, this was not new information. How many of y'all, put a 1 in the chat if you have been following my page for at least 6 months? If you put a 1 in the chat if you've been following my page for at least 6 months. Put a 1 in the chat if you have actually been in these live streams and remember me telling y'all that this was coming. Layoffs were going to happen. I remember posting about this. I technically did live streams on this early this year, but I was posting about it March, April. So it does not surprise me at all. As a career coach, I see this all the time. There are simply not enough jobs. I've been talking about this for a long time. It's time to get competitive. I preach competition on this page. If you're not a competitive person, you don't need to sign up for coaching sessions with me, because I want y'all to be competitive. It's the Hunger Games. It's been like this for a while, but I think people are really about to feel the pain. It's time to compete and act like you want a job. I've been preaching this a long time on my page. It's this whole year. Act like you want a job. Act like you want to be employed. Now is not the time to make risky decisions, to be posting frivolously online. Now is not the time to act like, oh, I can just complain about my job and post about it on TikTok. No, don't complain about your employer. Don't be posting anything about your employer. Now is not the time. Now is not the time. I'm going to give you some practical advice. So I'm going to help. I don't believe, I know people hate I told you so, but the reason I do this is so there is an accurate record. When I post things on my page, I want y'all to see the trend. If I'm telling y'all, it's because I'm talking about it with my clients and I'm seeing it firsthand. Layoffs are coming and there's more headed. There's more layoffs headed our way. You got to get competitive. You got to compete. It's not enough to be qualified for the job. I've been talking about this on my page for a while. I want there to be a public record that I told y'all this was going to happen, and it's not a game. It's not a game anymore. And a lot of people who think they are safe are not. So if you got a job, keep your job. If you want to transition into a different career, there's nothing wrong with that. But I told a client this today. You need to water the grass where you are. Many of you, when I'm looking at your resume, you are not watering the grass where you are. You are not creating business impact in your current role, and you cannot articulate it. As such, it is harder for you to pivot into another role. Now is not the time to be changing industries. Change industries if you must, because you're forced out, not because you want to leave. Do you put race and gender down? I'm wondering with the new AI algorithms. I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but I do factor in race and gender into the equation because it does matter. In an anti-DEI environment, it does matter. Now, just because you're Black does not mean you're not going to get an opportunity. That's not what that means. What that means is that it's going to be harder for everybody. It's going to be harder on everybody. It actually means more for the people who are in their current role, who are trying to avoid being laid off. I would be more worried about keeping your place at the company. Being Black is not going to keep you from getting a job. But if they don't like you, it's going to be an issue. If you're not creating business impact, you're going to get cut for sure. So what do you need to know about the jobs report? Because that's what the focus is. I just wanted to put that out there, that go look at my page, go look at my content. This is not new information for those of you who've been following me for a while, because I'm seeing in the data what my clients are saying. There are not that many jobs to even apply to. So mass applying is no longer working. We're also seeing that unemployment is climbing. The unemployment rate went up to 4.3%, which is the highest it's been in 4 years. So we know that there's a lot of people who don't have a job. Like, we know this. I think everyone has been able to put that together, right? So it's time to believe what you're seeing. If you're seeing that it's harder to get a job and that there's a lot of jobs that say they're hiring and they're not, believe what you're seeing. That is very true. I mean, networking only works if you actually have a network. If you don't have a network, then networking right now is not going to help you. I say this for a reason, because a lot of you say that you are networking, but you don't know what networking actually is. Networking is for people who are known, who are established. Hear me, please hear me good. I'm not here to sell y'all a dream. I'm not here to sell you a dream. For most people, networking means that you are known in your circle. You are known in your industry. And those people are being offered positions. That's what's happening. People who are known are getting first dibs. The most competitive candidates are not even applying right now. The most competitive candidates are choosing not even to leave their company unless it's something strategic. And I'm saying this because money is not everything. Because some companies are throwing money at candidates, crazy compensation to lure them to the company, but qualified and competitive candidates are considering a lot of different factors. They're not just leaving. Remember, back in COVID times, people was job hopping left, right, and center. Now, people are thinking twice. Because if companies are just throwing crazy compensation packages at you, that means they're desperate. There's something not quite right. And it's not to say that you shouldn't, consider compensation, but that should not be the primary reason why you pick a job. You have to really pick carefully. Because some companies, they're not doing very well. And I'm talking about the public companies, publicly traded companies. Some of them, their earnings are not looking good. So I wouldn't just go to a company just because they're offering you more money. I would really think about their long-term strategy and if it makes sense, which means you need to understand their business model. If you don't understand the business model and you're not in that industry, now is not the time to pivot unless you know what you're doing. Don't make a bad business decision because you're desperate. Really think it through. So, unemployment is climbing. Some jobs are growing, others are not. Unfortunately, I used to be a huge proponent for manufacturing. Federal government jobs used to be real nice, and it's not that way anymore. Construction, factory, manufacturing, federal government positions, not the move. No longer. I keep trying to tell some of y'all this. Please listen to me. The days of getting a public sector job for security are over. Now, if you work in state government, I need you to understand that is a little bit different than working for the federal government, but I would not recommend it. At this stage, public sector in general, tread lightly because there's a lot of politicking going on right now. And one day, I hope it doesn't get to that point, but if you are in a red state or if you are in a state that's blue and they got a sanctuary city, I'd be worried. Because especially if you work in a major urban city for state government, local government, and they're a sanctuary city, I personally would be worried. So no, I wouldn't encourage public sector positions right now. Now that's unfortunate because again, what did I say? Compensation is being thrown out there in the public sector for certain kinds of jobs. So if you want to work for the three-letter agencies, you probably could. But again, think about the compensation package. Why are they offering you so much money? I'm telling you what I'm seeing. And I'm going to leave it at that. Really think it through. Really think it through. Because I'm seeing the job postings. And I have questions. So again, public sector, I would be bullish on that right now. Until we figure out what's happening. What they got going on. I'm going to just leave it at that. The unemployment rate, we talked about that. Healthcare, retail, hospitality actually added workers. Healthcare, retail, and hospitality, they added workers. Now, here's what I would say about that. If you're in healthcare, it's a great time to be in healthcare. Does that mean that people are losing jobs? Yes. Here's why. Put things into context. This is where we got, this is why people hire me as a coach and a strategist. Because you got to look at the data and you have to extract insights from it. It's not always cut and dry. Yes, in healthcare, they did add workers. However, can you think of one thing that changed the healthcare industry this year? What's one thing that happened in healthcare that changed the industry? Comment in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. What's the one thing that changed healthcare? Why would I say healthcare is a concern? AI, that's a good guess. What else? Cut Medicare, BBB. Thank you. Big Beautiful Bill, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. That changed a lot. And so some of you, if you go on TikTok, what you're going to see is that even though there's healthcare jobs being added to the economy, you're seeing some healthcare folks are losing jobs. Even nurses are losing their jobs. It's not because they did anything wrong. It's because when you cut funding for certain programs, the people in the rural areas that need it the most are going to lose health care. Less clinics are going to be open. So don't be shocked when we add healthcare jobs, but we're going to see some leave as well. Because again, it depends on where you are. Some places, if you're more rural, your healthcare clinic might be in trouble. Yes, small hometown clinics are done. So that being said, virtual nursing is going to be a reality. So just because if you're a nurse, hold on tight, ride the wave. You made one of the best decisions of your career, but it's just going to look different. Virtual nursing is headed your way. Now, if you want to talk about that more, book a coaching call with me. Book a call. The link is in my bio, and we can talk for your options if you are in nursing, because there are opportunities for y'all. Y'all gonna have a job. It just might look different in the very near future. But yeah, healthcare, they were added to the economy. Healthcare jobs were added to the economy. Retail jobs added to the economy as well. But again, when we say retail, what are we really talking about? What kind of retail jobs are being added? That's the question that you should be asking. Now, for those of you who are unemployed and you're struggling, please keep in mind that they are not necessarily adding a bunch of white collar retail jobs to the economy. So really keep this in mind, because if you are overeducated, you are not going to spin the block and go work at the local Applebee's. They're not going to want you. So if you are a white collar worker, you are in trouble because you are overqualified and overeducated for some of the jobs that are being added. Hear me. Really think it through. Some jobs are growing, some are not. No, white collar workers do not have an advantage. It is actually very common for people who have bachelor's and master's degrees to try and spin the block because they can't get in their field, and they try to go work at Starbucks and they don't get the job. They're capable, but the people at Starbucks know you only there because you couldn't get anything else. They need people who are going to stay in the job, not people who are just trying to get a little 1, 2, 3 off so they can get a real job. No, they want people who are going to stay in the role. Even hourly jobs are like this. Okay? So if you are overeducated, I wouldn't necessarily go run to work at Target, go run to work at Starbucks, not necessarily, because you may not get the job. The next thing, old numbers were wrong. The government had to admit in June, jobs actually went down by 13,000, not up. So they got the old numbers wrong. So it was always bad, y'all. It was never good. The situation was never good. Yes, a lady I know has 3 masters in mental health and she feels underpaid because she probably is. Having a lot of education is not necessarily a predictor of success in this economy. It's not fair. It's just what it is. It used to be so easy to jump jobs and now I can't do it anymore. Yep, those days are long gone. Job hopping, long gone. What can the overeducated do? Because I understand I just can't get into. So here's the thing. If you are overeducated, now mind you, some of y'all just need to book a consultation. The link is in my bio. Go book the call. If you have a lot of education, baby, first of all, you are way too experienced to be asking for generic answers. Because let's start there. Generic advice is how some of y'all got in this position in the first place. But what I will say is this. If you are overeducated, you need to be selling your expertise. You need to be consulting. At a certain point, you need to leverage your experience and your specialized knowledge. End point. At a certain point, you gotta think a little differently about how you want to run your career and how you want to spend your time. Anybody can contract themselves out to companies if you know what you're doing. If you have a strong professional brand, you probably could do it. Another thing that we found in that jobs report, people are getting really nervous. A lot of Americans, in the survey that they conducted, Americans think it's going to be harder to find a job if they lose theirs. So there is not a lot of confidence in the American work population that they can replace their job if they lose it. I'm just keeping it super simple, y'all. We ain't finna overcomplicate this, right? I'm taking out the fancy words. Let's just call it what it is. People are getting nervous. White collar workers, you can try to get around this, but they have to do a background check on you. Any job, they're going to do a background check. It's going to come up if you have professional experience. Lying about it don't fix that. I mean, do what you got to do, but I'm just telling you, I wouldn't, if you're trying to go flip burgers and you got a bachelor's degree, like you could do that. I'm just making it clear that like they're going to figure it out. They're going to know. So Morgan Stanley said that they think the slowdown is going to mean the recession is ending. Now, granted, Morgan Stanley is a bank. The banks are hoping that this slowdown in terms of jobs added to the economy could actually mean a recession is ending. But that would imply that we were already in a recession and they weren't willing to admit that. So just want to point that out, right? Like we would have to at least acknowledge we were in a recession in the first place. Don't see that happening. One thing that somebody said I thought was so good. They said, think of the economy like a football game. They gave this metaphor, and it so aptly describes where we are right now. The economy's offense has slowed down. So some coaches, meaning economists, there are some coaches who think that the team is just tired and we're just going to bounce back. Give us a beat, we're just going to bounce back. Other economists, other coaches of the team think that it's in trouble and we need a completely different playbook, meaning the MAGA playbook may not be working and we need something else. The fans, meaning the public, job seekers, the fans are getting nervous. But guess what? Gamblers, meaning Wall Street, because sports betting is huge right now. So the gamblers are thinking the team is going to make a comeback because that's how they make money. They make money as long as you are playing. As long as the team is playing, they're making money. So I thought that was a great metaphor, actually. The economy's offense has slowed down, and coaches, meaning economists, are saying they think maybe the team is just tired, right? Other people think, okay, the team is in trouble and we need to do something different. It's like we're about to hit halftime. Something got to give. You know what I'm saying? The fans are scared. Job seekers are nervous. They're not sure how this is going to go. But either way, the gamblers are the ones winning. As long as you play, they still get to make some money or lose money. And so the question becomes, what happens if people no longer play? What happens if the team stops the game altogether? I don't want to scare people, and I'm not saying we're headed for a collapse publicly, officially, but I am saying there might get to a point where it rains outside and they're going to have to call the game. Just something to think about. Just something to think about. Not trying to scare nobody, but I just want to position the possibility that like a baseball game. If you've been to a baseball game before, if there's inclement weather, they got to stop the game, right? They're just going to call it. And then they're going to move on. So what happens if we can't play? So yeah, regular people, regular job seekers are worried. They don't see job opportunities. They don't know if they're going to get laid off. They're concerned that they might. And if they get laid off, there won't be another job to replace it. Investors, the banks, they are hoping that the Fed is going to cut interest rates. And I want you to understand, if the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates, please hear me, right? You need to understand a little bit about economics to really get how big of a deal this would be. If they cut interest rates, it helps the markets. So stock goes up. The price of gold goes up, right? Interest rates get lower, so people rush to go buy stuff that they ordinarily or wouldn't or previously couldn't. If they cut the interest rates, that means maybe the interest rates on a house would be lower. The interest rates on a car would be lower. So consumers who've been holding off because the interest rates were really, really bad. I bought a car more recently, trash APR, like horrible. And my credit is not that bad, y'all. I just knew the interest rate was bad. It wasn't good. But I needed a car, so I went and bought it. I held off as long as I could and went and bought the car. Thank you, RBC. Waiting for interest rates to get lower could be helpful. And a lot of people are going to rush to the market to buy. Let's just say they rush to the market to buy a house all at once. Well, here's the problem. What happens when all these people try to buy a home at once? The price of the home skyrockets. So the houses that used to be 400, now they're more like 500, 550, right? Interest rates are lower, but because there's so much competition, it's now a different market. Now everyone's competing for the same stuff for homes they already couldn't afford. Buyers may or may not have more power. I'm not convinced at this time. People are coming down on prices because if they're not priced right, buyers. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I think we greatly overestimate people's willingness to sell. Right? Like, and I think maybe that should be considered here. Don't think that people want to get rid of their home that bad. If it's cheaper to keep her, they finna keep her. I remember that during the pandemic. Some people, listen, they just said, you know what, it's fine. I ain't gonna sell. I'll hold. I'll wait. And that, because let's be for real. Let's be for real. If you are a renter and you're overpaying rent, best case scenario, you qualify for a home now. If they cut the interest rates, you qualify for a home now that you couldn't afford before. But then you go to the market to buy and the prices are higher than they were before. So it's like the renters are the ones that actually lose here because they're overpaying for rent. Landlords are increasing their rent. And depending on how that goes, I think this is what I think. I think in the past year or so, we saw a lot of construction for new homes. So as long as we can keep supply high, meaning as long as we can incentivize builders to build a lot of homes, maybe things will shake out. But the way I see it, the renters are the ones that lose, not the ones that are selling. That I really believe that. I think it might get to a point where people are going to be in a catch-22. You're overpaying for rent. You go to try to buy a home. And in some areas, it's going to be too expensive to even buy. So you're stuck overpaying rent to the point where if landlords keep raising prices, you're going to be homeless. And on top of that, some people losing their jobs. So if anything, I can see a lot of people just moving back in with their parents who already are home buyers. Meaning like the boomers, the Gen Xers, the people who already got the home. It may not be the best home, but they've had it for over 10 years at this point. So they're just going to keep it. They may want to sell, but they'd rather just sit on it and keep it. And then you're going to see people, multi-generational families come back. Multiple generations in one home living together. Because the younger people, they got priced out of living altogether. Right? They can't afford to buy a home, but they can't afford to stay. So just leave. But again, I think, at least where I live, I've seen a lot of new constructions, a lot of new builds. So that's why I say I think it might depend. This is all theory. You know, I'm not like really great at economics, so I could be wrong. But I would imagine the issue here is that there's just not a lot of new homes being built. We saw an uptick this year, but we would have to keep that consistent. And with the tariffs and stuff, I don't know how that's going to affect the price of building and materials. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like, I don't really know. I'm not really that knowledgeable. But I would imagine the tariffs and all that would impact the price of building materials. So we might see a slowdown in supply. We might. So I think that's what's going to make it worse. Like, I think we saw an uptick in new builds this year, but the price of materials might get higher. So that's going to go back down. And I think that will lead to people selling. They're going to ask for way more to leave. That's my thought. That's my thought. I don't know for sure. Somebody said you're on point. If you're a realtor, thanks. Like I said, I'm just guesstimating. I have no idea. I've never owned a home. The new homes are the best way to go, but even then, on what land? I would say the new homes are not the best. Actually, the best homes for the best value have actually come from like the early 2000s to 2010. Some of the best built all brick homes are from that period. I think the new builds today they don't have, I'm just not seeing it. Now, all brick homes in general are my preference, and I've learned to prefer them. But the new builds that I'm seeing, they are not great quality. And I think a lot of them, they're really focused on the townhome aesthetic. I'm not seeing a ton of single family residences like I used to. There's so many new builds that are townhomes. that are meant to kind of maximize the space. So they'll have like a whole section of all these small townhomes built up. So there'll be like a split level townhome or something, but I don't see a lot of single residence homes being built. You know what I'm saying? At least in my area, I have not seen that. And so I think that is why I would rather buy homes that are a little bit older, because they really hold their value. To me, I think they really stand up well. The newer builds today, I'm not seeing it. They're overvalued. To me, they're overvalued. To me, so there's many that cut corners, but some solid ones still. Good to know. So the reason I'm saying all this, because I know we're talking about homes, we're talking about the economy. I want y'all to at least get to thinking about how this is going to impact you, right? Because that's what this live is about. What does all this stuff mean? There's less people who are getting jobs. There's less jobs available. There's more people who are unemployed. The price of homes is going up. There's going to be a lot of people renting. But we already knew this. The question is, how are renters going to respond? Because if landlords get too froggy and they start charging too much to live there, more than what it's worth to stay, it's going to force people out of the economy altogether. I mean, think about it. You already don't have a job. You're already struggling and you're living on your savings. Young people are actually, Gen Z is actually dipping into their investments to pay their bills, assuming they have bills, because some people can't afford to even rent in the first place. If you're a younger Gen Zer, you probably haven't been able to fully enter the job market yet. I'm Gen Z, but I'm on the tail end. I'm like the older Gen Z. I'm 29. So I've been in the market for a while now. I've been in the job market for a while. So I don't think it's hit me as hard as the younger Gen Zers. So that's the concern. The concern is like already Gen Zers, they can't afford to really live or participate in the economy in the same way that some of the older folks are. So I would imagine that this could lead to a lot of civil unrest. Because what do you do in a country where there's a lot of young people who are unemployed? Youth unemployment is skyrocketing. What do you do with these disaffected youth? What do you do with teenagers who can't go to the mall because the mall is closed or shut down? There's no stores in the mall. There's nowhere for them to go. No third spaces that are free or low cost. There's literally nowhere for them to be. We're going to see a rise in probably some civil unrest or some sort of civil disturbances, I would imagine. I mean, just being for real, I don't know what else could happen. There's nothing else that could. I mean, unless y'all know something else. I can't think of anything. So yeah, people under 25 are having a really rough go of it. I think investors are overly optimistic right now. I'm not seeing why they're so optimistic. I mean, they're going to make a lot of money if the Federal Reserve does cut interest rates. But unless you have a lot of money in the stock market, I don't see how that helps you. Some people are hoping, some economists, I guess, are hoping that we're headed to recovery, but I don't really know what that would look like. Or what would recovery look like? You know, I have no idea. Like, genuinely, I'm not an economist. I have no concrete understanding of like how we could be in a recession that nobody calls a recession. And then we're going to recover. Recover from what? To what? What is the end state? Like, I don't understand. So yeah, I think politics is making things really complicated right now. I think the national politics are making things very complex. So if you're a job seeker, my advice to you, because I know a lot y'all are saying, okay, what you're saying makes sense. What do job seekers actually do? Like, what is the solution? Number one, I would advise that if you are a job seeker, you do need to upskill. I know, there was a lot of people on this app that were talking about the Gen AI pilots failing. I need y'all to understand that, like, the bubble with AI, I don't think the impact is going to really affect the average job seeker. Like the AI bubble bursting, a lot of people don't even know what that means. And I want to be very clear, right? When we talk about the AI bubble, I really don't want to include publicly traded companies who have an AI product in that. Because really we're talking about small, privately backed, venture capital backed startups, not major publicly traded companies with AI offerings. What does this mean? This means that y'all should be worried about AI. But I wouldn't necessarily worry about AI and automation taking your job. What I would worry about is you not knowing how to leverage the tools. We're going to get to a point very soon where if you don't even know what a large language learning model is or how to build one, you're going to be out of the job market in general, because the tasks and the asks are going to be much more complex than what you can deliver. And this ranges from sales to marketing to all sorts of use cases. Like, I want to be very clear about that. We are in a grace period where people can learn. Learning has become democratized right now. So anybody can go on YouTube and learn. Anybody can go on Coursera and learn. But that will not be the case for much longer. Because the pace that this technology is developing, if you're not on the way to learning now, you're not going to catch up. You have not even a year to get your butt in my classes, get coached, right? Because that's what I do. I help people kind of integrate AI into their workflow. And I want you guys to learn it organically so it becomes second nature. So it becomes part of what you do. It becomes part of how you search. Like, it has to be part of the workflow. You can't just like do a little ChatGPT thing here and there, because you can't build something if you don't know what it is or how it works or like how it functions. Like, you have to be using this stuff consistently over time. And then once you have concrete, high impact use cases, concrete, high impact ways that it impacts your workflow, you can then begin to build new workflows. But the first step is just integrating it into what you already have. The next step, which is what companies are about to start doing, is building whole workflows from AI. The AI is going to be building the workflow. The AI is going to be determining the processes, not the other way around. Like, I'm trying to convey this in the best way possible, but I need you to understand that's why the AI pilots were failing. It wasn't because of the models. It was because the people had not upskilled enough. The way we think and the way we understand AI has to change, because the pace of innovation is so quick. Like, we have no choice but to adapt. And so if you are not even using the tool, how are you going to build more of the tools? Does that make sense? I mean, listen, I'm not asking for you to sacrifice your morals to use ChatGPT. I'm just here to express to you that if you don't even use the tool, you're not going to be able to build a tool. Clock it. It's not going to be, oh, I just need to use ChatGPT. A year from now, you have to build something. You're going to have to build products. You see what I'm saying? You have to build processes. And if you can't even use it, then you're not even going to practically understand what's happening around you. And so, if you don't want to participate in the economy, then that is your choice. I'm not here to tell y'all morally or ethically what should happen. I'm here to tell you what is happening and then adjust. You need to go off the grid as best as possible if you don't want to adjust. As a person that has worked in AI infrastructure for over 4 years, everything she's saying is correct. Thank you, Sheena. I'm gonna follow you, actually. Love that. I love a specialist. I love a tech woman, a woman in tech, a woman in STEM. But yeah, I need y'all to understand how serious this is. So upskilling is not optional. Everybody has to upskill. Get on the wave now before the tech changes. Because again, there is a lull period right now where people are still like, investors are reacting to what's happening in the market. People are scrambling to figure out what the next move is going to be. But we only have a short period of time. And I say it's a short window to catch up because I have said this before on my page. But people, this is one of those things that I know I'm correct about it, but I don't want to be correct. But it's important. We are going to war pretty soon. We're in a wartime economy. So this is the lens through which I view the world. And this is what I'm trying to get my clients to understand. We are in a wartime economy. We are headed to literal war. So if you're trying to figure out how is this stuff going to happen, like AI is going to replace people, understand. Companies are going to find use cases for AI. They just need the right motivation. Hear me. Companies are going to find the use cases they want. They've been looking for them. If you're in healthcare, incline your ears. Incline your ears. If you're in healthcare, AI, the transformation is coming. What's stalling things is governance and privacy issues. What's stalling things is the regulatory stuff. But there will come a day very soon where that's not gonna matter because it's gonna be all hands on deck. Everybody coming together because there's gonna be a necessity for it. So the ethical concern, like they're gonna be the people saying, oh, what about the ethical? What about the moral? They're gonna be batted away because the necessity is going to overrule or outweigh the concern. And that's why I'm saying I think where things are going, we're absolutely headed to full-on warfare. A lot of the tech executives are getting military rank. Okay? This is publicly available information. They're getting military rank. So yeah, upskilling in AI is essential. The same AI executives, the same, tech executives that you see in the C-level that are like, oh, well, I don't know if AI, they're working with the feds. So you don't have a choice, is what I'm saying. So Pearl Swirl, congratulations. Congratulations on getting called back from a recruiter. I wish you nothing but the best. And I know you're going to get the role. Fingers crossed for you. Prayers up for Pearl Swirl. So yeah, I want to position that to you guys because I know you're saying, what should I do with this information? Upskill. It's mandatory. There is a lull period for like the next 3 months, 3 to 6 months, where there's not going to be a ton of activity happening up front. But behind the scenes, there's major infrastructure changes, major investment changes. And I've said on my page, the real use cases for AI are going to be the military, guys. First. And then it's going to be the private sector. So prepare for that and make sure that you are upskilling, because when it hits your industry, if you don't know how to use the tool, you're out. End of discussion. So yeah, upskill. That's the first thing I would do. Do whatever you can. I would also say the next thing that I would focus on if I was you guys, I said this earlier in the live, but it's really important. I need you to water the grass where you are. If you currently have a job, you need to be clearly assessing yourself against the KPIs or metrics for your role. You need to know how well you're performing objectively so there are no surprises. I know we all think we're the best at our job ever, but hear me good. You do not want to be caught off guard and be considered a low performer and be surprised by this information. You really do need to make sure that you understand how you're being assessed. And you need to get some touch points with your manager, whoever you report to, so that you understand how they view you. Because some of y'all, your manager don't like you and you're just chilling like you're oblivious. And so when they start making cuts, they're going to cut the person who's not driving business impact. They're going to cut the person they don't like. So please make sure you are honest with yourself about where you are positioned in your current role. If you know that you're not doing your job for real, please step it up. If you know that you are not consistently engaging with your manager, please step it up. Please talk to your manager, get on their good side, do what you have to do. A lot of you do not know how to articulate the business impact of your role, and it shows in your resume. This is going to hurt you in the immediate sense. If you do not understand the business model of your company, if you do not understand how your company makes money, if you do not understand how your role directly contributes to revenue, you're either about to be redundant or you are not a skilled worker, which means you are about to be made redundant. Everybody should know why they do the job they do and who it impacts. If you don't know why your job works, why your job is the way that it is, if you don't know what would happen if they didn't have your job in the company, that's a problem. That means that you are in a bad way. What if your manager is toxic? It doesn't matter. If your manager is toxic, who cares? Who cares? Like, either you want the job or not. Keep the job. Do what you got to do to keep your job. Now, if you're savvy, you can book a coaching call with me and I'll tell you how to get a different role at the same company. If you want to move, I can tell you how to do it. But again, I think most of you would benefit from actually doing your job. Documenting your successes, documenting your wins, engaging your manager, making sure you have a strong brand and a strong reputation. I think you would stand to benefit the most if you honed your business acumen so you were able to clearly articulate the impact of you doing your job. You would stand to benefit from that. Even if you don't change your job, you need to refresh your resume anyway. Thank you, Pearl Swirl. This is free game. Quantify your resume impact. Absolutely. Impact matters. 100%. What if you have been canceled at your job? I don't know what being canceled means. Being canceled is not a real thing in the real world. I mean, do people like you or not? If people like you, then you can't be canceled. I'm not sure what that phrase means. I'm just saying, like, the first thing that comes to mind, which is like, if people like you, then you're not canceled. There's no such thing as being canceled in the real world. Like, I don't understand. I'm so glad you came across my For You page. Thank you, Jenny. If people ice you out, they don't like you. If they don't include you, they don't like you. If you have to ask the question, they don't like you. Except for that CEO at the Coldplay concert. Not even him. He wasn't canceled. They didn't like him. That CEO was not canceled. They did not like him. Do you know how long the Abercrombie CEO was doing what he was doing before it got exposed? He was running a whole ring. And you mean to tell me one guy cheated on his wife? Everybody knew. Come on. I used to work there. Exactly. Everybody knew. Come on. Nobody liked him. So if people don't like you, they're going to blame you for whatever. And so if you're used to being blamed for whatever, then that means people don't like you. Which means they don't trust you. Which means you're not going to keep a job for very long. Simple. So let's recap. If you are trying to figure out what to do because the jobs report was not good news, right? The jobs report, long story short, was not good news. So what you need to do is make sure you have your ducks in a row. Keep it tight, keep it right. Stop the lollygagging, stop playing. Be serious. Take yourself seriously. And that's not to say that it's going to keep your job, because some of y'all is too late. Some of you are already going to be phased out. And I'm not being mean. I'm just saying, like, objectively speaking, by the time people are icing you out and they're not talking to you, it's because there's already been back channel discussions. So book a call, but then also just be aware that that day is coming. So you just need to be prepared. You can click the link in my bio to go to my Patreon. The link's in my bio. Yeah, so just be aware of that, right? Like, understand that they have already been talking about you in the group chat. Most of the time, y'all, people are not jealous of you. I'm so sorry. Most of the time, people are not jealous of you. They just don't like you. They're competing with you, but that does not mean that they're jealous of you. Hear me. It's time to get competitive. That's one of the first things I told y'all on this live. Be competitive. It's time to put the game face on. Okay? There's a lot of people looking for jobs. There's not that many jobs. It's time to compete. Competing means you have something of value. You got a job. Competing means knowing that you have something of value and doing what it takes to protect your interest. And guess what? In times of economic scarcity, there's going to be a lot of backstabbing. There's going to be a lot of corporate politics. Protect yourself. Just because somebody's competing with you does not mean they want you. They don't want to be you. They're trying to edge out the competition. They've seen that you have a weakness and they're trying to exploit it. End of discussion. Now, some of y'all, people could be jealous, but chances are it's not that. I'm just being honest. If you think people are jealous of you, if that's your first thought, that probably is not what's going on. I've had people be jealous of me and I didn't even know it, because I had no idea what jealousy actually looked like, nor did I have the capacity to understand what I had was so valuable that people would want it. Because my environment, what was normal for me, which was excelling, was not normal for other people. So I was just existing and had no idea it was disruptive. I see that a lot. People who don't have really good social skills, either people are jealous of them and they don't clock it, or they think everybody's jealous of them, and that's never the case. Almost never the case. So I just wanted to give that little tidbit for those of you if you find it helpful. As somebody who has real tangible assets that people value, oh yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea people cared about having a social media following. So when people would sabotage me, exploit me, I had no idea that's what the motivation was. Didn't even cross my mind. Other people had to tell me. I was like, wait, what? You were jealous of me? That's happened to me a lot. Other people had to clock it and come report back and say, oh yeah, so-and-so said this, they want da-da-da. That's why they did that to you, because they da-da-da. I never told y'all, but one day, I've had a platform for a while. One day, maybe in the private Patreon group, we'll talk about jealousy, because, child, anyway, I've never told y'all the stories that I've had. But back on topic. I have had it for a while. I just don't move in a weird way just because you have a TikTok. I just think that's absurd. To me, it's absurd. So anywho, recap, and then I gotta go because I have another call. Pearl Swirl, I miss you dearly. I miss you too. I love your content. Any skills you would suggest working on, like free certifications out there? There's no certification that is a surrogate for experience. Instead of spending the time learning a new certification, I would question what skills and what experiences you can have in your current role, right? What's going to give you more visibility? What projects can you get that's going to push you forward so that you can actually get a better job in the company so you're not forced to leave? Because that's the best opportunity. The best opportunities are for people in your current Because let me tell you, I have had several experiences where I've referred people to different positions. I have done my best to put people on. I have really tried, and it was hard with a personal recommendation, very well thought out. I coached them in everything. They still didn't get that job. This has happened more than once because they were internal candidates. I was trying to get people in the door, but compared to an internal candidate that was already pre-vetted, they ain't waste their time. And I'm talking about thousands of people wanted these jobs, and I had the recommendation to put them up there. I put them up there. Didn't even matter. They wanted an internal candidate. So that's why I'm saying some of y'all need to reframe your thinking and water the grass where you are, because there's new jobs being created every day in your company. And you're not even on the conversation. You're not even on the agenda. They're not even thinking about recommending you. Y'all are not watching the job postings in your company enough for my liking, because you take it for granted. You don't steward your job well. So you take it for granted, and then you get surprised when you lose it. Then you get laid off and you don't have a game plan. But you didn't steward your job. You didn't steward your resources or your skill set at all. You didn't keep your resume up to date. You didn't network with people across the company. You didn't look for jobs within the company. You didn't really care. You wanted to clock in and clock out. And you did that for 4 years and never left. You stayed in the same job under the same person. And now they're doing a reorg and you have nowhere to go and no one to call. Is there anything you can do to better protect yourself from layoffs? I have a whole training on this. I did this training months ago, actually. Months ago. So if you want, you can purchase the live replay. I can make it available to you. The live replay is banger. Like, that's probably the best training I have ever done. Unfortunately, not a lot of people supported it, and it was sad because the girl that went in there, she was blown away. She was like, Faith, there is no way. There is absolutely no way. No way. So go click the link in my bio. You can do what you will. You'll have to purchase the live replay because I did it for free. I did the training for free. Nobody wanted it, so now I'm charging for it. But yeah, she was shook because of the level of strategy in the game that I was given. I give back as much as I can. I'm a generous queen. Is it the you in danger? Yes. So yeah, take some notes. If you buy it, go take some notes. But you're going to benefit from it. I don't promote it like I should because I got other stuff going on. But yeah, you can go book it. You can go book it. It'll change somebody's life, for real. Do you ever feel overwhelmed with the different aspects of stewarding your job? Yes. But honestly, being broke is overwhelming too, so. Can I be for real? Being broke is also really sad. Like, I prefer to have a job. So yeah, I would say, I don't think, all seriousness, right? Let me just answer your question honestly. Let me be very transparent. Here's what I think. I think there's a time and a season for everything. And so the time of disruption that we're going through right now has to happen. It has to happen. And you just got to strap in and go along with it. Stewardship is about respecting what's been placed in your hands and creating capacity for more. So if you want to make more money, you have to do well with what God has put in your hands. I'm a Christian, so I believe wholeheartedly that it's about taking care of what God has given you. You can't get more if He can't trust you with what you already have. If you can't handle the weight and the responsibility of that, then how can He bless you with more? So when I think about being overwhelmed, I start really thinking about, okay, am I really at capacity, or am I wasting time doing stuff that does not serve me at all? And when I say don't serve me, I mean it's not aligned with my mission and with my purpose. When you feel overwhelmed, because I felt overwhelmed a few weeks ago. I have a lot of crazy stuff going on in my life. Not because I'm reckless, but because there's things that I could not control. I don't come to the internet to tell y'all about it, but between running a business, working full time at a 9 to 5, just got a promotion. Thank you for the flowers. Sir, I serve in my local church. I do a lot of stuff. Overwhelmed. Mentally burdened. And so I really, I was just telling my friend this the other day. I have some great friends. We were just having like a little debrief. And I was being honest with her. Like, yeah, I feel the weight. Mentally, cognitively, I feel the weight. Because I'm pushing, but I'm tired. And one thing I realized was God wants to bless me with more, but I got to show him I can handle it. I got to be responsible. And I had to cut out the stuff that was not aligned. And sometimes it's going to take for you to shake things up to see what's really aligned. There were some things I was spending my time on that I cared about, that I really loved, that I liked doing. But when it came down to seeing what was aligned, I'm like, God did not intend for me to do that. I picked it up and I need to put it down. There's some things that you have picked up that you need to put down. So if you are feeling overwhelmed in this season, you're not focused. It's time to lock in, focus on what's important, on what's aligned. What is aligned? What is purposeful? And put away the distractions. Some of the stuff you are emotionally attached to, it is a distraction. It is not helpful. It's not profitable. Think about the return on your investment. And this is something I had to learn. And the older I get more free. I experience a different level of freedom to just say some stuff. I'm not seeing a return on my investment. If I put X amount of dollars into something, I don't necessarily need to see that same dollar amount to know that it was profitable. I need to see it somewhere though. Like I've paid for memberships. I have paid for private communities and things. I paid for coaching, all sorts of stuff. But I have seen a return on my investment. I can make 5 figures in my business because I spent years building a 6-figure life, 6-figure career before 25. I paid my dues. I paid it. Literally. So now, like, I have reaped what I have sown, and it didn't come the same way every time, but I invested in myself and it was produced somewhere. I can pay tithes and reap that somewhere else. Because I'm like, okay, yeah. When I am loyal and I'm a good person and I show honor to people, I reap what I have sown. And I get the return on my investment somewhere else. So my question to you is, if you are feeling overwhelmed, it's because maybe you haven't sown anything that is producing. And so you need to start taking an assessment on what is working, what's not working. And that's pretty much that. It's very straightforward. Thank you for the rose. And thank you for the congratulations on the promotion. Yeah. It was a long time coming. Do you think education is good if we're not seeing career advancement? Getting a master's is not a substitute for experience. Now, I'm saying this knowing that I want to get my MBA. I do want to get my MBA, but it's not a priority. Right? And the reason for that is because there's no substitute for experience. If I can get into Big Four without a master's degree, what is the master's degree going to do? Like, don't get me wrong. I want to learn. And I feel like there's going to be a point where I need to get more technical in a few areas. So if I get another degree, it may not be an MBA. I want one. It might just be a master's degree in computer science or something. I don't know. Something more technical so I can learn on the back end some stuff I should have learned in my undergrad. But we're not going to get into that. If I maximized the most I could possibly get from my bachelor's degree first, and I finagled my way into Big Four. So now I'm in a competitive firm, competitive role. I'm doing what I can do with what I have. But at some point, I will max out my earnings with a bachelor. And so I'll need to get a secondary degree. That's fine. So I would recommend the same. I would recommend you maximize the most out of what you can get from that 1 degree. And then once you feel like you've hit a cap, then you can go for more. And it's just going to take some creative thinking on your part. But that's why I have coaching. I have a consultation. Click the link is in my bio. Yeah. Do I have it on here? I don't know. Do I have it on here? I thought I had the call on here, y'all. Okay, I see the freebies. I see the application. Yeah, just do the new career in 120 days application, and you can book a call from there. That's fine. Once you fill out the application, you should be able to like go put some time on my calendar. Bingo. I'm utilizing my British citizenship to get my MSc quickly and on the low. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, maximize what you have already done. Like I said, water the grass where you are. How do I keep up with AI? What can I learn to not be replaced by a bot? So here's the thing. AI is not doing strategy work. I had this conversation with a client. I don't know if she understood what I was saying, but I was on a consultation today. I'm going to give you a perfect example. Perfect example. So I'm a career creator, not a career influencer. I don't take brand deals. I legally can't, independence reasons. But yeah, I am a career coach, whatever. When I had a call with a client today, and she told me that she used the custom GPT. The link is in my bio. It's a conversational AI system that will rank and score your resume. It's 100% free. Some people think that's crazy to do that. Why create a custom GPT so that people could rank and score their own resume? And then I also have a freebie. Link is in my bio. If you want to use some ChatGPT prompts. I really created them to go together. So the GPT prompt and the custom GPT go together. You're supposed to use them together. And together it's a powerful tool. Now, some people were like, why would you do that for free? Great question. Number one, I don't believe in charging people for information. You got to understand the limitations of ChatGPT. ChatGPT can like give you information. It does like a general data scrape across like Reddit, Glassdoor, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't really believe in charging excessive amounts of money for something that it took me 20 minutes to build. You know what I'm saying? It's not that deep. The information is readily available on the internet. My client was saying that she used the custom GPT with the freebie, and she said that her resume scored high. So she got an 81 out of 100, which is one of the highest scores that you can get. And so what she still, though, after she did that stuff, she still used the free resources and then booked the $250 consultation. Now it's $250. She booked it anyway. So here's the thing. You can use the free resources and you're still going to need me. You want to know why? Because she said, I don't understand why it ranked me high. Why did it give her an 81 out of 100 score? But she's still struggling to get interviews. And so when I did the consultation with her today, I said, you need to understand something. This is a business principle. The game has changed. I don't need to charge you for basic information. It used to be people would charge you for resume templates. Now that's very antiquated. You can give people resume templates for free. I don't care. You're not getting a job because of a template. You're not getting a job because, you formatted it the correct way. No, it's the information in the resume. It's the information. And so what I told my client was that you got to accept that your resume is being ranked by the AI as being a resume that has the right keywords. You meet the minimum qualifications for the role. You have a college degree. You have certifications. You have the right keywords, but it's not passing human review. Meaning a literal person has seen 30 different job postings that you applied to, they saw your resume and decided to pass. You can't say that it was auto rejected because it wasn't. A human being most likely saw your resume and they still didn't want it. They didn't extend you an interview. And you need to accept that. And I said the reason for it is because it's the content of your resume. It's the content. I told her that I see your resume and you have all the right keywords, but no business impact. I'm looking at your resume and you have all the right keywords, but no business impact. I'm looking at your resume. Sorry about that. I got a phone call. I was looking at her resume and I wasn't quite certain why she would be extended an interview, because what I read was super generic, not industry specific, not specialized at all, and most importantly, didn't show any impact. So I'm like, you have all these great things that you know how to do, but you can't prove that you know how to do it. Thank you for the rose. And she was like, well, how do I take my current job? How do I take my current job and show with metrics that I am a high performer? Because she said, okay, well, I need to be a high performer. You told me I have to be a high performer. How do I take my current job and actually show that? Like, what do I need to say? Because she went to the custom GPT and it was giving her snippets. It was giving her examples of things to put in her resume that did not apply. It was examples. It was examples of what to include in the resume, but she couldn't include it because the metrics did not match her role. And she was like, I don't understand. Like, how am I supposed to know how to do that? I said, that's the strategy. You're paying for strategy. I'm not charging you to use a GPT that it took me 20 minutes to build. I'm charging you because I'm here to tell you there are very specific parts of your current role that you are not considering that should be included as part of your experience. You're saying that you can't get a job because you don't have enough experience. And what I'm telling you is that you do. You just don't know how to position yourself. You don't know how to phrase it. And most importantly, you don't even fully understand the job you have. So why would a recruiter give you a new job for you not to understand? You don't understand the job you're currently doing. Even if you're a decent performer, you could still not understand what you're doing or why it has any impact on anybody. A human being can read your resume and say, okay, this person, they don't get it. And they'll move on. Some of you have to accept that a human being is rejecting your resume. You're not being auto-rejected. Usually if you are, you get an email very quickly after you submit saying that. A human being probably saw your resume. Not all the time, unless it's really trash. Sometimes you could have a trash resume. But sometimes, I would say 60% of the time, y'all's resumes are just not hitting. It's not compelling enough to want to interview you because you don't read, it doesn't read like you understand the job or that you understand what you're currently doing. So therefore, there's not really a clear trajectory of responsibility, right? We're not really seeing a graduate understanding of complexity in each role and that you absorb more responsibility with every role. We don't see that. We don't see that step ladder effect. So yeah, there's certain things that recruiters look for and they don't have to be technical. And that's what I need y'all to understand. Just having all the technical stuff in a technical resume does not mean a recruiter is going to want to pick you. Because again, they're not technical. They're not the ones delivering the work. They're not an IT specialist. They don't have to be. They can just read the resume and be like, this is hard to read. They can read the resume and be like, this is a lot of jargon, but I'm not really clear as to why this person's good at their job. Again, they're not doing the job. So like, I don't know, like that's the strategy part of it. So no, a GPT can't outdo me. It can't outcoach me. So yeah, when people say, oh, like 250, I don't know. I'll have to use all the free resources. I need to use all the free resources first before. That tells me you don't understand You don't get it. You're in this position because you don't get it. And I'm not saying that to be like mean. I'm being for real. Like, you for real cannot get another job until you understand the current job you have. Like, I mean, really intimately understand what it is that they're looking for, what it is that you're being assessed on. You have to intimately understand the business model of your company and how you factor into that. If you don't, you're not going to graduate to the next level. Simple. And when you see that as not a moral failing, but a lack of stewardship, you can be better. Because you can change. You can make a different decision today to say, you know what? I want a different job, but in order to get a better job, I need to be a better steward of what I have access to. Some of y'all are getting certifications and tools on stuff. Thank you. You're getting certifications and all this extra stuff and tools that you don't even use in your day-to-day job anyway. So like, how are you going to prove that you know how to do it? Like, really think about that. Think about the current tech stack that you have. What are you doing with that? Like, why are you trying to learn all this extra stuff to the side that your company does not even have in their technology roadmap? They could be using it in India, but they're not using it in your company in the United States. So you learning this other stuff that you can't even apply to your current job makes no sense. You see what I'm saying? You'll see what I'm saying? So anywho, I think I've basically proved my point. India got mad American job. Oh, sure do. Oh, sure do. Indians, they living right now, I tell you. You know, they got jobs. So all I'm here to tell y'all, and I'm going to close this up, is, you know, if you are ready to actually get your life together, and I don't mean in a very superficial way, because I mean, again, like, some of y'all, you can shop around for all sorts of career influencers and stuff, but they're not giving you a level of game that you actually need to keep the job, because that would require real knowledge. Some people, the best they can do is rewrite your resume because they don't have any real clear understanding as to why the job market is the way that it is or what is about to change. Thank you. That was cute. I've never seen that one before. They have no clue. Some of them are influencing you. They're influencing you for LinkedIn. They're influencing you for this, for that. But half of them, they couldn't even keep their own job. So again, I am not here to coach everybody, right? I'm here to coach the people who want to get it and to really progress in their career. Because, hey, some of you, I understand the only thing you're thinking about right now is to keep your job. Because it's very scary to imagine a world where you don't have a regular income. But what I can say is that the security does not come from a 9-to-5. The security comes from you. The security does not come from a 9-to-5. I'm secure and I'm not scared because I know for a Fendi fact that what I have built at my firm, I could rinse, wash, repeat, and go do somewhere else. Because it's the knowledge, it's the skill, it's the adaptability, it's the flexibility that I have developed, the agility that I've developed, that I can duplicate somewhere else. And I know the job market very well. I have no fear at all. And that's not to say that I'm resting on my laurels. It's because I invested so much in my education and my understanding that eventually I could duplicate this somewhere else. And I know I could. With a bachelor's degree. So my hope for y'all is that once you have the strategy, not just information, strategy, you can then duplicate. And that's what I coach people to do. Understand the strategy, meaning you want to be able to implement this stuff in your current role to then position yourself for better opportunities elsewhere so that you have options. More options, more leverage. More options, more leverage. You are not getting anywhere in this job market without strategy. You're not. Either you get it or you don't. I was offered a senior marketing PM role by one of my clients. I own a barbershop. I believe you. We're seeing a resurgence of non-traditional employees because some of them have more grit than the white collar people. Some things are not a substitute for experience. We got somebody in here competing for senior marketing, project management roles, and they own a barbershop. But again, real work experience, strategy. Either you're a critical thinker or you're not. Either you're flexible or you're not. Either you have the mental agility or you don't. It don't matter what, some people, it don't matter what you do. You could drop them in a tech company. You could drop them in healthcare and they would still figure it out. It ain't about the degree at this point. I'm serious. For some people, it ain't about the degree. And so some people, I would say, might get displaced, but not by AI, but by non-traditional digital challengers. Non-traditional people, non-traditional learners who they're digital challengers because they know the tech or can learn very quickly. They're good with people, they got people skills, and they've mastered systems. Meaning they understand the system that they're in and they have a strategy to navigate around it. If you can get that together, people, technology, and systems, it don't matter where you put those people. And those are the digital challengers. Those are the people you should be concerned about. The people who you can put them anywhere and they'll figure it out. I'm so serious, guys. So, I'm not saying to not get an MBA or to not get a master's degree. That's a strategy conversation. That strategically, is that going to position you better for opportunities 10 years from now? Or is it just going to be another... Is this you collecting debt? Are they paying for it? Questions, right? These are questions that I have. Leverage what you have to the max before you invest in another job or in another degree yeah. So anywho, I do have to hop on another call at 8, so I'm going to go ahead and prep for that. But yeah, go ahead and rack it up. I just did an hour and a half of free coaching. So this will be posted on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm posting more there because TikTok is whack. TikTok is so whack. October 1st, I will be completely off this platform and I'm not coming back ever. Meaning that the page will be deleted and I'm moving on. So if you want to keep up with me, you can go subscribe to my YouTube because I'll put my live streams there. If you want to get locked in, join the Patreon discussions. We have one every month. For this month, we're doing a character study of Handmaid's Tale. So yeah. I'll buy your TikTok. It won't be for sale. Yeah, vanity followers means nothing. I'm chasing impact, not, random people on TikTok who just want to, you know what I mean? So no, it's not really worth it. But that being said, Patreon, we have monthly discussions, different topic every month. This month, we're talking about The Handmaid's Tale. We're doing a TV character study. It's going to be bomb. Other professionals are in the group that participate. So I know y'all are going to have a good time. There's always some really strong intellectuals who have some great contributions to the group. If you are looking to leverage any of the free resources, click the link in my bio. I have a free custom GPT that will score and evaluate your resume. I also have a ChatGPT prompt engineering workbook. It's 100% free. It's just a few worksheets for you to use those prompts in conjunction with the ChatGPT resume evaluator. And then of course, you can book a consultation with me. $250 for 60 minutes, up to 90. And we talk through your career challenges. Highly recommend as an introduction to my services. And of course, I have a 3 to 4 month program, 3 months of intensive bi-weekly coaching, followed by a month of practical application. So I highly recommend, If you are interested to fill out an application and I'll be in touch with you, you should be able to book a call once you fill out the application, and we'll talk through some of your responses and what you have going on. So again, I think that's pretty much it. I did add the live replay. So if you're trying to avoid layoffs, avoid getting put on a PIP, I have a webinar replay that's for sale. Again, like, it's the best training I've ever done by far. There's nothing like that on the market. I'm almost positive there's nothing like that training on the market. Nobody is doing that. That game, that level of game, nobody's doing that. So again, it's for sale. If you want, purchase it. It's like 2+ hours. So 2+ hour long training. All right. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you in the next live stream. Maybe Sunday next week.